So please welcome this new soul tribe of mine from Joshua's retreat in Newton, North Carolina, my soul sisters and brothers, to the show. Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
Namaskara.
Namaskara.
Nice to be here.
Thank you all for being here and sharing this. And when I thought of it, after we got home from our amazing time together, I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to share this and uncover our magic that we discovered over that weekend at Joshua's house. And I know we all have our perspectives of that time together. And I think it's an amazing time to get together to hear everybody's perspectives, learn from them. And coming home, when I was coming home, thinking of how important in-person things are, events, we'd been so, Zoom in the last 3 years. And when you finally go and you can connect with people and share what we have learned and share our perspectives and connect that way, that is nothing more than just this magical time that we shared. And we uncovered so much magic. So if I could ask who would like to start uncovering what they discovered about themselves, life, where they are in their place in this world right now. Who would like to start? Dan?
Well, I agree with you. My favorite part of it was meeting the people. It was just a wonderful long weekend, and Gary was cooking, and I just enjoyed meeting everybody. And also I find when I'm on kind of a meditational retreat, I really get into the pets. So I was loving Bodley and Luna, and it was just a wonderful thing. They have such a nice energy, as the people did, but what a great week.
Did you have a moment during that time, Dan, that you really went, wow, I really discovered something new, or an aha moment?
Well, it's going to sound corny and contrived, but just from the moment I arrived, it was like coming home, and I just felt great the whole weekend. And that continued. I was on an extended road trip, and that continued on into the road trip, where I was just smiling at people, waving to them, and just having a great time. So
yeah, I love it. And that was, when I think of Dan, we shared the bed and breakfast together. There was half of us across the street and then half of us at Gary's house. And I remember watching, getting up in the morning and having coffee and talking. And I thought, where else can I stay and sit down in a kitchen, have coffee with people, and have like-minded conversations? And then go to the house across the street, sit at a dining room table and continue that. And it was like this, it was like we were being reunited. We were all like, oh, I know you. I've known, like when I first met Pam at the car, it was like Jordan and I pulled up, and Christine and her were getting out of the car, and Jordan and I were like, do you think they're part of the retreat? And I look back at that moment, I think, oh my gosh, I know everything about Pam and Christine, in just that short period of time. So when you can experience those moments with people that, can get together and share that, I can't even put a price on it, anything. It was so special. So who else would like to share?
Well, I'd like to share, since I just got that tidbit of information, that I'm going to raise the prices now. If it's priceless, let's go ahead.
Right.
Well, I think what we discovered throughout all the Joshua sessions, white light, Christy doing medium stuff, that we are a family, and that's why we knew each other. That doesn't happen all the time. Mm-mm. It was a very interesting 5 days. It was like a reunion more than anything else.
Right. And Gary, tell me, because you've had a few retreats in the past, was there, you say it was different, the energy was different. You could tell a difference, from the beginning.
it was shockingly different. It was, everyone had that hard to describe energy that perfectly gelled with everyone else. Everyone was at the same high perspective. Everyone was on the same page. Everyone was open to go with what was going on. It was incredible. We've never had anything like that. And they've all been fun, really fun. But this was different, completely different. And what we learned was everyone who was going to be there was going to be there, and nobody who wasn't supposed to be there could be there.
Right.
It was a totally new experience for me.
But you know what I thought was neat, was different, was most of these souls that were drawn to this retreat were kind of new to Joshua. You know, like Tammy, not Tammy, or, you know, I was trying to think people that had said, oh, I'm just doing the boot camp. I heard a podcast. That sounded interesting. It wasn't like these like diehard 5 years people. It was kind of a cool, like, wow, this is new to you. That was fascinating to me.
Yeah. In fact, the retreat we had in October was a lot of people who have been coming year after year. And there was, in the beginning, because in this one was different, we had private invitations for everyone instead of announcing it to the public. So it was, you know, booked the first couple of days just by the people we sent invitations to. And for some reason, the people who had come to the past ones weren't able to come to this one. And now we know why. It was a different thing altogether.
Right.
Yeah,
But,
you guys, I have an interesting, I think, perspective on it, because I've been to all of them since October of 2019. And I was as a participant. I wasn't hosting it. I wasn't doing anything. So I went through all of those years as that, just like you guys did, being a part of the retreat and not planning it and not having anything that I was presenting, to this time coming in and being partly the host of it and then presenting and having to push past all kinds of fear to do several things for the first time. It was like I was in a different world. If I had compared the original retreats to this one, it was entirely different. The other ones were great. Part of the beauty of getting together for me, and that when I did my first boot camp, was because it gave me friends that think like I do. I came to the retreat, and of course I had them on Facebook, and I had a coach, I had all that. But once I met everyone in person, I was locked in, and it has given me friends that have gotten me to this place that I don't think I would have if I hadn't gone to that first retreat. Then I saw what happened this time, which was partly intentional. I mean, we definitely felt we had this new basic training. We had a lot of new people in the community, and we wanted to get to know them. So bringing them in, it changed everything. And then watching all of you who have been a little bit on an island, perhaps in some of this work, some of you not, but all of you come in and just magnetize. You came just together and tightened up. And now I know you all have what I had from the first one, and this one was just even so much more powerful. So it was a really interesting thing. Gary always had been the only one really doing anything, except for maybe some breathwork people that came in occasionally. So this gave him, you know, he had a little bit more rest time because I was doing things. So watching him be able to relax, he was able to connect with everyone in a different way, I think. So it was amazing. For me, it was amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to ask Lynn, because I know Lynn is one of those newly found Joshua people. And I just loved getting to know her. And I mean, what a beautiful soul. But will you share your experience, Lynn, as a newcomer, kind of coming in fresh from kind of not really has, as much as we had been learning about Joshua?
Yes, of course. Well, I found out about Joshua during the fall, and I listened to a lot of teachers. There's a lot of teachers out there, and for some reason, first time I heard Joshua talk, I knew this was for me. I knew it. So I really started listening more to the podcast, and some somewhere in there, I learned there was a retreat, and that's why I got in contact with Gary, which was Christy. She just said, I want to go to the retreat. And the retreat was not planned. So there was like, well, maybe you could do a boot camp in the meantime. So I said, okay, let's do the boot camp. And I just dove more into the work. And I think it's absolutely amazing. It's exactly what I needed. And going to the retreat, well, first of all, it's a beautiful house. It was a beautiful weather. It was welcoming people. Like, you walk in the house and you feel it's home. That's amazing. And yeah, having Gary cook for us the whole time, I mean, you know, it was amazing. And right away, I remember meeting you, Ashley, and Julia, and then Pamela. And it was right away a conversation, like we knew each other. And of course, we understood why later, but it was right away, you know, I realized, like, what a good listener you are. But everybody was there. Everybody was on the same vibration. We could talk about anything, and everything was okay. Like, I remember at one point somebody asked Pam, I think it was Pamela, who said she was talking about a dragon. And somebody said, yeah, what color? And I mean, you don't have a conversation like that with normal people, you know? Yeah, everybody was normal. Like, nobody, you know, like nobody's weird. We're all weird a little, but yeah, we all belong. So it was amazing. I loved connecting. Well, at one point I did ask a question to White Light. And she looked at me and she said, you know, I asked her who they are, and she said, we are you. And that's powerful, really. Mm-hmm. So an amazing weekend. I'm so happy to see you all. Well, not everybody's here tonight, but all the people who are on this call, I'm so happy to see you again. I just, you know, feel my heart is full of love for you.
Wow, thank you, Lynn, for sharing that. I want to ask Pam, because, you know, I met Pam in the parking lot, and she asked me if I was Ashley Goner, and she had listened to Uncover Your Magic and found Gary that way. And I was like, what? And so that was a moment for me to realize, you know, why do I have this podcast? I didn't know 3 years ago. I mean, I couldn't have even told you this was I would be sitting here in a group like this, but my life has evolved so much. And I mean, I can, you know, I found finding Joshua, you know, before the podcast started. I was already on that journey, but to, you know, come to a place where someone says, I know you from your podcast, and I found Gary from listening to your podcast. And I was like, really? That was amazing. So Pam, let's hear your story and what, you know, your takeaways and all that.
Yeah, that is exactly how I found Gary and Joshua and all of this. So it's my journey probably with all of this started. Well, I joined the Ascension Experience in August. So I'm fairly new as well to all of this. And as soon as I got the email invitation about the retreat, I was like, yes, this is going to happen. I'm going to this. And I remember being so excited because just the idea of being in a group of people who got it, you know, who had been studying the same things that I have been studying, listening to the same things that I've been listening to, and that I could, for once, maybe possibly, this is before I got there, maybe possibly connect with people who I could have real conversations with. Now, once I got there, my mind was blown. I mean, it was amazing. I kid you not, it was literally for me almost stepping into another reality. Like the rest of the world could have blown up and I had no clue and wouldn't have cared. Because just like everybody else has already said, in the fact that there was such connection and everybody was so accepting, and we were having these conversations that I never would have had with anyone else ever before. I mean, words can't even describe exactly what it was that was going on in that house. The vibe, the energy, the everything was just amazing. And I can honestly say that, you know, I met some amazing people that I look forward to being friends with for as long as possible. It's really changed my life, and it'll be amazing to see how this journey unfolds.
Was home different when you got home to your family?
Yes. I had somewhat of a spiritual experience at the retreat. So I am my life has taken a little bit of a detour. We're exploring that at the moment, so it'll be exciting to see that. But yeah, I think I jumped perspectives a little bit, and so just being able to take that with me and bring it home with me has. I mean, shoot, I lost 7 pounds since the retreat, so like everything's
Wow.
been crazy. Yes. So yeah, I've been able to take the new perspective that I have. I feel better in many ways. I'm making different choices. I am listening to that voice a lot more, and it's coming out in a much more loving and accepting way in everything that I'm doing. I had the most amazing Mother's Day this past weekend, and I came back from the retreat saying, yeah, Mother's Day, whatever. I don't really care. Amazing Mother's Day. So, but yeah, even my kids, they made a comment. They're like, you seem so much happier, Mom. And I'm like, because I am. So something magical, absolutely magical happened at that retreat. And I am forever blessed to be a part of it.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so neat. Let's go to Ed. Ed. Unmute yourself. I think from the moment I met you, there you are. From the moment I met you, you are this deep thinker. You would, watching you journal and, really processing, would love those deep conversations at the table. And you'd always ask the questions. You'd be the first to stand up to go ask Joshua or go ask Christy or White Light. And, you're so all in this. And I think we all could agree that Sunday night or Sunday morning when we had our last Joshua and you got up and did that, I really want to hear your perspective. I know it's going to be hard for the listeners to understand because, like I said to everybody after that time together that morning, you couldn't get that experience with ear pods and a walking your dog. You couldn't have that experience that we did. I mean, I'm so grateful for that time with Joshua, and with you and how you, Ed, really led the group on this magical hour of Joshua. So could you take it from where you, your perspective, what you took from all that?
That's a lot of kudos. I don't know if I deserve that because the only thing I did was I walked into the room and I followed an inspiration, which was to ask Spirit for a question that would serve the whole group, that would be in service of the group. And then I just followed that and went with it. And I don't think I really did anything other than that. And then Joshua took over from there. The whole weekend was an experience of, how some people say chosen family. I have my chofos, my chosen family, and my family. And this family that we created this weekend is neither of those, but better than all of those. So I don't know. It was just a magic that was going on, and I was willing to go with it, and excited about going with it. So that's,
yeah, you're being a little modest.
Yeah, like, come on, Ed.
This was
I really don't think.
Yeah, so
all right,
I'll explain. What happened was that this was the last Joshua Live. It was Sunday morning. We had done one on Friday morning. Then we had a fun thing in the afternoon with Rachel doing astrology. And then Christy did the White Light on Saturday morning, and then did medium on Saturday afternoon. And we learned something interesting about ourselves. Joshua said this was a group that came together, that's intended to come together, that had a plan. And that was the first Joshua. Then White Light said the same thing. And that was released, that podcast, so you can hear it again. And when you hear it again, you'll really see it, because we were being moved up in perspective. And then when Christy is starting to do medium stuff, and you have, Christy, what was the name of the spirit guide?
Ekajate.
So the first person, which was Greg, has Ekajate. The second person, which was Michelle, she was a friend who came over just for that event, and she had Ekajate. And then the look in your eye when the next person had the same one, and she goes, "Oh my God, everyone has the same spirit guide."
Well, yeah, but I thought I was getting it wrong because I've never
Yeah.
done that group reading thing. And I thought, oh man, I am screwing this up because I'm seeing the same spirit guide for her. I can't clear it out. I thought it was me. And it took a lot. It really about made me sick. I was trying to figure it out.
What was that spirit guide all about?
Well, it was different for everyone, in general, but it was about trust and protection and liberation
Of
freedom
teachers.
and that sort of thing.
Teachers. It's a teacher's spirit guide, right?
Yeah. Overall, I think that
right?
is
That's what it was for.
It's really weird.
Yeah. And so then it all led to the final day on Sunday, and we're all gathered for the last Joshua Live. And I'm bringing up Joshua, and I usually close my eyes and breathe and have a certain routine that I go through. And it's generally just me having thoughts, but in this case, they came in and they said, "Let's try something a little different. Why don't you do this one with your heart?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." And it was so different and so powerful. And they went on a pretty long rant and then asked for somebody, and there was dead silence. No one stepped up. And then Ed stepped up, had his inspiration, which was to do something for the group. And then for 20 minutes, Joshua grilled him like he was being interrogated, like he was on trial. And then at one point, Joshua turns and says, "Don't worry about Ed. This is going somewhere. You'll see." Right. And oh my God, when I looked out at the crowd, all I saw was gods. I saw who everyone was and what everyone meant to each other and how we were connected. And Ed had to get up to do that thing for all of us and had to go through that. And in the process of that, one of the questions was, "How old are you, Ed?" And Ed had no idea. Could not answer that question, which was perfect the point that Joshua was trying to make, at that time. And so it was for your bravery and courage for the rest of us that we really appreciate that moment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amazing. Christy, I want to come over to you for a second, because I know that it was your first time doing a group like that when you were doing your mediumship, and and you were worried that if it didn't work out, we were just going to kind of wing it and do some coaching, but it did work. And it was so fascinating to watch you in live, really doing that and pulling these people and like trying to figure out the age of this person, and then who, anybody know anybody, and then someone would raise their hand, and then you would, it was so emotional. But was it a different experience for you versus like sitting on a Zoom? Like, how did that experience feel to you versus the other way that you have been doing that?
There was a lot more resistance in me because of the group there, for sure. I think I still feel like it looks ridiculous because I'm up there and I'm crying and I'm talking to no one. Now, it just seems like it's like somebody standing there juggling with no balls. Like, what is she doing? So it was very intense. The line of dead people it felt infinite to me. So there were a lot there to come in and speak. So that felt very different, and I didn't really know how to just decipher them and call them out. They sort of did it for me. They came up at once, and then I had the two that were very glitchy. I couldn't quite get. So I was trying to bring the other ones in, saying, "Come on, I'm going to put this to the side. You come up here so I can get you." And they wouldn't. They were letting those two go. And I still don't know exactly why. But yeah, there's a lot more energy in it, and the emotion that came, I think it has to do with the face-to-face. It is, the initial emotion was with Greg's father. And I have never had them give me that sort of emotion that was I miss you emotion. I've never had that. They never do that. They rarely apologize. Sometimes they will do it, but they'll preface it with, this really isn't necessary because everything was exactly like it should be, but this one needs an apology from me. So they'll do that, but I can tell they don't feel it. It's hard to explain. In this case, the emotion that I got from his dad was an I miss you emotion. And then it was the golf. And Greg is a friend of mine. We're close. And it was, I could feel all of you, because I have to get into a spot to raise everyone's perspective so that they can hear what's being said. You guys aren't on that level that I am when I'm doing that. So I have to get you up there. What's easy about most of you is you let me do it, and then you guys can hold it. I don't have to hold you. If someone doesn't do this work, I have to keep them up the whole time. So you guys got there, and I was able to let that go, but I could feel you loving me. And then there was a point where I felt a lot of you switched to feeling sorry for me, and you all dropped, and you were dragging me down with you. It was really wild. And I think I spoke up and said, stop it. Stop feeling sorry for me. Everybody, I need you to be up. I need you up. I can't do this. I need, so then I felt that. So I felt that huge support, like all of you just snapped it. Oh God, and you did it. So there was this incredible sort of symbiotic thing going on with me and then you guys. And it was palpable in that spot that I'm in to hear all of that. And there was a lot, I was berating myself as it's going, because I'm thinking I'm not getting this right. I'm seeing this spirit guide over and over. I'm messing this up. So I had all that happening, and you guys just sort of pulled me through it. Yana spoke up, and I think she could see me struggling and thinking I was getting it wrong. And she said, no, Christy, we all have the same spirit guide. Because I was not the one to say that first. That was Yana. And she said, Christy, well, and I could feel the relief when she just, like, it was like she just reached her hand out and said, you're okay. You're doing fine. She was understanding what was happening, and I wasn't. So it was very unique, and it was also very exhausting. When I stopped, it wasn't really time to stop. They were still coming. I just couldn't go on anymore. I was still getting the words for everyone, your Sanskrit words. I just had to stop, because I thought, Chris and Gary and Greg were going to have to come pick me up. Right. So, but it was really unique. Very, very interesting experience to do it in a room like that with people that you love. If you were all strangers, I think it would have been different, but how I felt about everyone and what I was bringing in, Adam's dad, the one that came in that is still living, some very bizarre things. And it was all because of the power, I think, in that room and what support was there and what was being pulled.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That was so amazing. Let's go to Yana. So speaking of Yana, and I met her, she was fairly new to the Joshua material too. And I would have never guessed, because she's all in and has an amazing perspective and so fun to talk to. And when we were sitting on Thursday night, drinking wine, she had a text from a friend saying, is Ashley there? And she shows me the text and said, my friend sent me Uncover Your Magic with Gary, and that's why I'm here. And I said, oh my gosh. So we took a selfie. And so that touched me. Another person that I don't realize I'm touching, that gets to have this experience that, it's all, we're all connected. So Yana, do you want to share your perspectives on what you experienced during that weekend?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Sorry I was late. Always perfect. So that's exactly how it is. Like I speak to the group, and everybody understands me. Everything happens just the way that it does. And you don't have to apologize for things, and you can be just you and say what you say, and it's going to land the way it's supposed to, right? For everybody. So I think that I had a reading with Christy a little bit before the retreat. And then in my reading, my spirit guides told me that it's important for me to be in the community of people. And so in my local community, I started to look for people who are here in LA doing different things. And then I think that I reached out to Gary right away and saying, oh, when is the next retreat? I really want to come. And then I think 2 days later, he said, oh, interestingly enough, we're already planning one. And here's your invitation. So I kind of preemptively asked for it and literally got invitation 2 days ago. So it wasn't like I was waiting for a long time. So I meant it was for me. I knew it was for me. And so I think that what was interesting for me, besides like having an amazing group of people and Gary cooking this elaborate dishes for us like every night and having fun doing it as a group and meeting all of you. But I think that when we got there, it felt good, but I could see that in the very beginning, we were still kind of going through our, humans trying to connect, trying to overcome, all of us are different. Some of us are more social and some of us are less social. Some of us have never been maybe in a group with so many strangers, right? And having to talk, but it was so easy. But I could see in the first day, we kind of just released all of our insecurities, or not all of our insecurities, but some of it, at least in connecting to the group, and understand that like you really talking to yourself when you're talking to another person. And that was a very interesting revelation to me, is like I can say anything and I know how people are gonna take it. And even if I'm saying something that somebody has not thought of before, they will say, oh, that's an interesting perspective. So that was really great. And seeing so many of you going through your journeys and understanding how long some people have taken to get here. And for some of us, it was really fast and it didn't really matter. We all fit and we all had a great time connecting. And in the beginning, I had a FOMO experience. Like I want to be in every conversation. Like, am I missing the porch conversation when I'm in the back? And I'm like, and then I relaxed and I said, I'm going to be in the conversation that I'm supposed to be in. And that's what it is. Right. And so that's it was an amazing experience, and still connecting to my thoughts better and understanding that there's a community of people there who understand me and support me, and that I can support also. And also connecting to the human Christy and Gary, right? Because when you do it over Zoom and when, it's different, you feel different. They are teachers that some kind of high on a pedestal, right? For me, at least. And then you meet them and they're humans that are welcoming with, and doing things. It was just amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Yana. I loved meeting you. Let's go to Tammy. Tammy's been with Gary and the Joshua group for a long time. This is definitely not her first retreat. And I think it would be fun to hear your perspective on your experience with this group versus the ones that you've been in the past.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I will say that, I've been to 5 retreats. I just love going to Newton and exploring around, but I really felt like everyone there had like an extremely high perspective. And I saw a lot of engagement, and it just seemed like, I felt like we all supported Christy and Gary, and we got higher level messages. We're all saying namaskar to each other. That message that we're all teachers, I think that was really profound. And the idea, I just felt like I was dancing with angels Sunday night. Yulia and Yana just seemed to blossom. I saw Paige. She came in and she couldn't touch people, and she was hugging people before she left. I just saw a lot of people blossom and bloom and just be their true self. So I enjoyed staying at the bed and breakfast and having the morning conversations with you and Jordan and Daniel, and getting to know Pamela. So I always make friends every time I go, but I just felt like I just knew all these people, and everyone, not everyone was new. There was like 16 new people there, or it was a lot of new people, but each person, like Yana, she's just so bright and cheerful, and it's not the same, through Zoom calls as in person. You really get to see their entire energy field and how they're so alive and full of life. And you ask a lot of questions, Ashley. And I was thinking, she's just interviewing everyone here. How did you get in, Joshua? And I kind of felt like that about Gary and Christy when I met them. Like I just always known them for some reason. They're not like strangers to me. And I feel that way now about Ed. Ed and I had a conversation before. I'd interview him on a podcast, but now, he's that funny wizard. And I mean, there were just so many people that they just seemed to really step up their vibration during the whole thing. And it was really great to see Christy channeling the white light. She's just made a quantum jump in her reality in the last year. And I mean, she was a powerful person when I met her, but she's, coming into her own. And Gary, even Joshua, I feel like he's kind of understanding where he needs to go. And, but coming together is powerful. And I always get a lot out of it. I really understand now that I learn from every person there. And it is a wonderful experience. I can't imagine not knowing these people now.
But mostly from me, right? What's funny is Crystal and Daniel had met before in Costa Rica on a trip. Isn't that amazing?
Neat.
How we connect to someone before and just show up at a little town in North Carolina with 20 people and you've met someone before.
Right.
I'm getting all these amazing coincidences right now. They're just like, that was amazing. What were the chances of that? And the way I met Tammy and just a whole bunch of things. And it's so much fun.
It is so much fun when you live in that perspective. So let's go to Melinda. I'm just looking at these little boxes and I'm all these sweet friends that I love so much.
Hello, everyone.
Melinda is that, for me, when I met her, like, it's just, I guess it's for everybody. I've just really connected and I felt like I've known her forever. And she is the deep thinker, loves that conversation when after the calls, in the outside with either the Joshua or with Christy. And it was always like, let's go deep. She loves that. So what was your perspective, Melinda, on and how was life after? Like I love to hear that.
Well, thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. It was really great. The whole thing felt effortless in the way that I got there. And it felt like I was being pulled like in a tractor beam, like you must go there. Like I didn't know anybody. I didn't even have the address, but I made it all work and I got there and I walked in the house and it was just like, oh, here are my people. It was effortless and easy. And it was a huge kind of leap of faith because I'm a pretty social person, but I've never just flown across the country before, not knowing anybody. But as I mentioned before, the pull was really aggressive, and I'm so glad that I did. Through having conversations with everybody, it was this great mirroring experience that I got so much feedback on my level or higher, right to my face, that the fireworks were just blowing up all around me, like the whole time. And when I got back, the energy it's still popping. I'm still integrating all of these ideas. And some excellent feedback that I got from Yana. She was like, "You're a word person. You really like words." And I was like, "I do. I am." I was constantly looking to choose the right words for myself so I could articulate my feelings and my perspective. And that really means a lot to me. So by virtue of the fact that she saw that means so much. And that's just one instance of being like truly seen that was just mesmerizing. And I too had a reading with Christy, and in the reading a couple of months ago, one of my relatives was like, you're doing this alone, and you don't have to do this alone. Connect with people in your town, connect with people on your level, and it will propel you. And no truer words have been spoken to me. Even like yesterday, or no, it was only today. I woke up, and oftentimes I'll put on a little spiritual podcast to just like give myself a little bump in the morning. Use it as a crutch to be like, okay, let's just get going. And I popped an Abraham Hicks video on, and my brain just said, turn that off. Use your own wisdom. And I was like, damn. And I turned that shit off. Sorry for cursing, but I was like, it's loud and clear now, and it's coming hot and strong. And I'm so grateful to everybody who was there, who took the time to connect with me and chat with me. There's definitely before the retreat and after the retreat. And these are just a few of the nuggets of the evolution of me that's happening.
Yeah, I love that. Ed, do you want to say something? Your hand's up, and you're no. Okay. Jordan, let's go to Jordan, my little angel that I met 2 years ago from listening to this podcast. I had taught her Britton and Brenner, her kids, and then her, and then and I introduced her to Gary, or she listened to a podcast, and then we just talk about Joshua all the time. And finally she picks me up at the airport, never met in real life. But when it was like, I've known her for my many lives. When we got together, it was, to sleep in the same bed with someone on the first night, like it wasn't weird. It was perfect. Like, it was like, she was just she's been my friend for forever. So that to me too, like the beginning, realizing how that special bond when you have that connection, and I do with everyone on this screen. When you realize that we are all one, it makes that one statement, we are all one, that we know, even more profound to me, because it's so clear. And it's like, wow, I get to learn from all of these people, and I get to listen to them, hear their stories. I look at every single one of you on the screen, and I know you deep in your eyes. Like, I know your heart. And that is so, not a lot of people can say that in this world, to have that experience where they can look in however many eyes I'm looking at and say, wow, I know their heart. And I do. So Jordan, let's hear your your perspective.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. You took everything I was going to say, really, but no, it was so neat. Just how I even started on this journey. And then listening to your podcast, and I was hearing some Joshua Live podcasts too at the same time. And then just being so fortunate that you started the teaching for the kids, and you made a special class where I could do it with my kids because they were younger and not really reading. So that was amazing. And, instilled some really great things and ways of thinking for our life, their life, and as children growing up this way. And then I decided to do the mastermind group that Gary, Joshua, everything started last August. And that was huge. It really helped with my job, my outlook, life, everything. And so then when we got the invite to come to this, it was just a no-brainer. I was like, is Ashley going too? And of course she was. So we decided just right then and there, we were going to come. And it just felt right. And just like you guys are saying too. And then once I saw Ashley, we talked so much, and then just seeing her in person, I was, you would normally be super nervous meeting somebody like that, but it was just like she was my sister. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was really cool. And then showing up in Newton and seeing everyone, and it was so comfortable, and everything that we learned, and some of the things that stood out to me, and I'm still trying to figure it out, were about our identity, and it just made a big impact on just thinking about that, how maybe it's not really me, like I just need to figure out what the real me is, and then also living life and creating through feeling, not just thinking or trying to make it happen, just feeling things so much. And then if you're feeling the wrong thing, that's probably what you're going to get more of. And then there was something else. And along those lines is just figuring out how to work something in, doing something new every day, because I realized that when you do the same things every day, I just get on autopilot, and how do you expect for anything unimaginable to happen? So that it was just, everything was really awesome. So I just love getting to meet everyone and have this experience.
I love that. And the things you just took from what you said you took from it, doing the one thing new a day, or, the way Christy described identity with the bricks and things like that go through my mind every day. They do. It's made an impact. I do think of that, and I think of, who am I? What, it's really, when you look at it from that perspective and you try to go through your day and, try to do something new. And as a mom, I've used all those tools in teaching my girls, what are, the bricks that you lay every day, who is that? That is not who you are. Like the way, I just love that perspective, Christy. And I loved the do something new, and the quantum physics the last day. That was so fascinating. And I definitely want to do that class and learn more of that, because that really, I took a lot from that. And Yulia, we haven't heard from you. She is just this bright light. Her and Yana were roommates. They came from LA, new to the Joshua community, and went all in like everyone. And, could tell she was doing deep thinking and really processing a lot. And, it's like everyone came there, just like you've been listening to this whole hour of us talking, but we all came there, with that unknown, we're just going to go. I know we all talked about this, but we were all drawn to it. There was not a question in our mind. Some of us said, I've never even left my husband and my kids, or never not asked him. And I just said, I'm going, and that's kind of how I went. It was like, it worked out. I knew it was right. I was going to go in the fall, and it didn't work. And it was fine. I'll go when I'm supposed to. And then this came up, Jordan and I were talking, I'm like, let's do it. That same day we did it. But when I talked to everyone at the retreat, it was the same thing. It was like, there was no question. And that's when we know, when we found out we all had the same spirit guides, it just all came together that day. It was like, oh, this just makes sense. These people resonate with my soul. There was no question. And I felt that way with everyone. I mean, it was just so amazing. So Yulia, tell us your perspective. And wait, let me unmute you. Hold on. There you go.
Yeah, I'm so proud, guys. Then you invite me to be part of your journey, to part of your retreat. I'm so proud of be part of you. And I can compare all your thoughts, but from my perspective, I would love to share with you my new experience. After I left the retreat, I feel like we all created like a new family, new circle, like a new bottle of water or wine. And every single time when I feel my emotions down, or I feel my perspective so low, I feel like I have responsibility for all ourselves. If I will get a little bit higher, it can be translated to all of us. And I physically feel like the wholeness of our 25 people, 27 people of which we were in the house. And it's amazing to feel the connection between of us. Because for myself, it probably was the first time when I was just broken barrier between the people and our connections. I'm sorry for my English.
No, it's amazing. You did great. Gosh, I was like...
I'm just trying to explain the feeling to be responsible for all of us, how we gonna feel after this retreat, to be down and can keep our level of emotions, to dissolve our problem. It's just like the neurological system, something between of us. We always trying to be connected and receive everything between of us. I know it's a little bit strange.
It's not. It's entanglement. We are all entangled now.
Yeah, it's entanglement. I told you, I can feel you guys in that room.
I feel I just don't have enough words to explain it, because I'm not able to explain to myself how it's feeling like there's something inside your body.
Right.
Well, it is a new thing to build this connection, to feel the presence of everyone there and their energy adding to the house. And as everyone came in, you could just feel the energy of it. And that is, I guess, because we're getting sensitive, but it's not the house, it's the people in the house that are doing it. And that combined energy was just incredible. It was so effortless. That's the key phrase to this, I think.
This responsibility give you just the last words, not to be so down if you even will have a reason for this. Just responsibility for all of us.
Right. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Yulia. So beautiful. Let's go with Christine. Can you share your perspective, Christine? Can you turn on your unmute? No? Okay. No, Christine. Anyway, I loved meeting Christine. She was she was one of the first ones I met when she was in the parking lot. And I just remember thinking, oh, I get to know these people. And it was beyond it's beyond the thought that you sit there and see someone in the parking lot thinking, oh, I'll get to know them in the next couple of days. That doesn't even describe that. I mean, it goes way beyond. So anyway, Gary, are you raising your hand?
Yeah, because Christine was going to stay a day late. And that's the fun thing, is some people can come early and some stay later. And so I just had this inspiration that she should just stay. And so she stayed for the next 4 weeks. No, just kidding. She stayed for the rest of the week. And it was so great. We got some stuff done. And she has a talent. And we were sort of working on the new quantum life theory together on this, and it was just so cool to hang out with her and not have this postpartum depression, because I hung on to some people there. They could stay for a while.
Yeah, neat.
Yep.
I love that. Oh.
Yeah, so she changed her flights and stayed. It was great.
Oh, neat.
But I don't understand why any of you left, because that doesn't make sense. You should have all stayed. Just moved in. We can put in bunk beds. We can make this a proper cult.
Oh, anybody want to share anything before we end this beautiful conversation? And so thank you all for coming and sharing your experiences, and just knowing that we were all called to come and be together, and we'll always be connected. I know that for sure. I know we all know that for sure.
We will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting this on. It was awesome to see everyone again.
Yes.
So much.
Namaskar.
Great to see everybody.
Namaskar. This is great. Thank you guys so much. You guys, I couldn't have done what I did that weekend without each and every one of you there. I love you all so much. You have no idea.
Next one, though, will be a survivor retreat. And so someone will be kicked out every day.
Not good.
And on that, we are complete.